So this is my video for the semester look back part 2. So question 1, what new skills have you learned? In the class so far, because I've never really done any of these things before, except for maybe in Design 1, which still wasn't a lot or exactly these type of projects. I think all the skills that we have done in any of these projects, whether it comes to the design aspect or just like the actual physical part of cutting things out or having to figure out how to do like the wire sculpture, stuff like that. So to me, technically all the projects and all the physical parts of learning how to put the projects together is all the skills that I learned that were new to me, as well as having to come up with ideas and concepts for my projects, because I was never really too creative. Number 2, what content in this course connects to other courses you have taken? Well, of course, I would say Design 1, and then I would also have to say my my sound design class and my Photoshop class, which they actually have quite a bit in common when it comes to the design principles and like the elements of contrast lighting, color, texture. All that stuff was very much something that I had to include in all my Photoshop projects, which even though that was digital, it definitely relates and has the same things in them. Number 3, what aspects of the course were the most challenging? The most challenging part to me was almost all of it, because I don't feel that I am that creative, and on top of that, having to come up with these ideas that weren't as complex as they probably should have been, or having to do physical stuff like the wire art was really hard for me to turn and to do that kind of stuff with. And like the book art, I was able to come up with a decent idea, but I feel like my skills to physically put together the project and cut it out and build stuff wasn't as advanced as I would have liked it to been, to have made it an even better and more complex project. Number 4, what aspects of this course would you like to explore in the future? So far, out of all the projects, my favorite one that I would want to do again would probably be the cardboard wearables, just because that seemed to be the most fun one. And even though it was with partners, I feel like we were both able to kind of combine our ideas. And I feel like with that project, I was able to contribute a little bit more and have a little bit more creative ideas and be able to physically handle just like dealing with cardboard, since it was a lot more manageable compared to something like book pages and wire and stuff like that. And then number 5, what were the most meaningful? The most meaningful part was probably having to get creative and having to explore that side of my mind that I didn't think I really had, or those ideas that I had to really, really work and focus on. And even when a couple of times when I would come up with ideas, they weren't complex enough, or a lot of my feedback was that it was too simple. So I think the most meaningful part here was having to like go into those and discover and think about more creative ways to do my projects in, and to be able to have better projects in the future. How did you grow over this course? I grew a lot because at the very beginning, this isn't something that I was too interested in. And I actually really ended up liking the class and all the projects that we did. I did think that the cardboard wearables and the wire art were my favorite, just because I thought I did decently well on the wire art compared to what I would have thought, since I've never dealt with it before. And then I just grew in general as mentally, at least for my creativeness, because again, before my ideas were really, really simple, and I feel as throughout the semester, as we went through projects, my projects got hopefully a little bit more complex, and then I was able to prove to myself that I was able to do all these things that before I had never even tried or wasn't even interested in, and turned out to be pretty fun and something I would want to do again. And how do you see this class helping you in your future? I think this class is going to help by preparing me for any other classes that I take that have anything to do with the same things. So I wish I would have taken this class before taking Photoshop and sound design and stuff like that, because it would have been easier to understand, especially with the projects. It would have been more of a physical part that I would have practiced more with actual projects before having to go in and create new images on Photoshop, where you have to use the things that we learn in class, such as, again, the contrast and texture and proportions and lighting and all those things that make art and designs that I didn't know before. So I definitely think that that all those things are going to help me in the future, as well as if I ever decide to do another project that has to do with any of it, I'll be a lot more experienced and be able to put more creative ideas and a lot more skills that I've learned through this class, as well as if I ever decide anything to do career-wise with any of this, or even if it's just projects and it's not my whole career, this will have definitely helped out, and I will be able to apply everything that I learned during the semester to those projects. So it really helps out, and I know that it would definitely be something that helps me out in the future. So I believe that is all 7 questions, and Nicole Colon, and that is my semester look back.